To order at 4:33. Everyone could stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The review and the approval of minutes are online. We officially go into new business.
All right. So the first thing in your packet is our our new draft of DLC expense reimbursement. We've invited Carlisle Vincent, what's your show title?
Assistant Controller.
Okay. And do you know her?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So we invited her so she could answer any questions and explain sort of the purpose of this new language in here. Give everybody a minute to kind of like take a look at it.
Can I use one?
Yes.
Just want to see.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that would happen. So in your, on the online version, you'll see that Mr. Henius made a couple of suggestions there in red. That happened after, well, it's live, this document, but the one that I gave to Teresa. Those are just things that we can consider today as part of the conversation. And then I'll clarify them. All right. Any questions, or do you want to start with any kind of background or explanation? What's easiest for you? I think
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever people want. Do people feel like they would background information on this be helpful? I think just being in a deficit and having the budget commission and having everything reviewed, it came up with the budget commission like, oh, we noticed that there's quite a bit of personal reimbursements. What's the approval process? What's happening on the front end before we're paying people back? But there's just a lot of purchases happening on personal credit cards, and we really should be, and the finance department has been working really hard to prevent that. And the budget commission really strongly advised against personal credit card purchases. So we've really tried to just have people go through the normal purchasing process. If you want to buy something, we can actually usually get it at a cheaper rate too. People buying stuff on Amazon on their own, like we get a lot of discounts, we get tax credits. It makes sense to go through the purchasing process. We can look at our budgets and make sure we can afford it. It just makes sense.
All right, does this also apply to student activities? Because remember, we went through this with the budget commission, student activities accounts are not.
I don't think that was the intention.
Because I do the play, for example, and we had it last weekend, and at the last minute, I'm buying,
Of course. I don't think that was the intention. We're talking about just normal general fund purchases.
Yeah, like departmental. I used to be the head of the English department for both Windman and Tollgate, and that kind of thing. We used to always order from WB Mason.
Yep.
And now I noticed, being at all the budget commission meetings, like you said, there's Amazon, there's WB Mason, there's so on. So if there is a uniform company that you're purchasing from, that's where you get the better rate.
Exactly. So
Was there a separate policy for student activities or funds? I thought
There is a policy
Yeah, I
for
thought-
student activities, yeah. It's, it was updated about 10 years ago.
Okay, so I was just gonna ask you if it's something we
Yeah,
should
because
look
that
at.
happens with the credit cards all the time. And I know just from having Nicole in social ops, there's a lot of times it would be like, wow, where'd the money go? Well, it's
Yeah.
graduation time and you're buying balloons and flowers and all of that.
Like I buy stuff from BJ's for concession stand, and I do that like a couple days before the.
right.
You know.
So I guess, do we have to put in here Do we have to have like a clarification that this does
This
not
does
apply
not apply to
to
student
SAF?
activity funds?
Because the way it reads, it's just kind of expense reimbursements. And
Yeah.
I always saw on my end, the credit card use was mostly through SAF and getting reimbursed that way. I never really saw it on the local budget end. So,
And
Yeah, we
occasionally
can-
we might have it on title because we have like family events with catering,
Yeah.
so
Right.
it's not like maybe something to say like only under extreme circumstances, food or whatnot. I don't know.
Well, it's like the budget commission. I mean, well, I could go on about them, but remember they had, well, didn't they know there was gonna be a pizza expense? And it's like, no.
Yeah, some of the stuff comes up last minute,
Or the
so,
PTA, that's PTA money. They raised it.
Right.
They have a right to order pizza
Yeah.
for the kids. That's how they want to use their money.
yeah, no, I think this was more for just things like, I'm trying to think of a recent example. Someone bought stuff on their personal credit card for their classroom. That's something very easily we can get through the purchasing process quite quickly and get it out to schools very quickly and get a cheaper rate. So there's no need for the teacher to do that. We should just be going through the normal purchasing process.
do we title it differently?
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think,
Can we say?
I mean, is it budgetary expense reimbursements? Is it local budget,
Well, yeah,
grant
those-
budget? I mean, excluding SAF, do we have something in there that,
Yeah,
I think we
that's a
could
good
put-
point.
because if we don't
Framing.
put something in and people continue to do what they're doing with SAF, they're technically in violation of
This policy.
this policy.
This was not supposed to be connected to SAF at
Right.
all. So,
I wouldn't, I do like the idea of changing the title too. I think when
Yeah.
people search it, it needs to be much more targeted than it, it is now. Sometimes we find other things embedded in the policy that are like, oh, I didn't know that would be in there, but so.
Maybe local budget expense reimbursements or local / grant budget expense.
That makes
If
sense.
yeah,
grants,
I
if
think that's a
grants
good
are
idea.
included, and then
I would
leaves
like
the
to
SAF
include
out of the
grants,
discussion.
Paul, except for like emergency things.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, maybe you could put something unless it's been approved.
Yeah, unless it's, yeah,
Where do you?
Which I think they have it in
I thought it was
the,
just
in the
already,
policy.
like, we do that now. And then we can also address some of the, language that Mr. Hennis has kind of, see if you're in agreement with that, Caroline. First, where would we want to put something unless approved by? Grant
Well,
or whatever, I'm sorry, you might mess with that.
I think if you change the title, it may
It's fine.
capture what
like
we're
general
trying to
fund
do.
and grant expense
Yeah,
reimbursement.
yeah.
Yeah,
Local.
Yeah, because
general
that third paragraph takes into account like just getting approved before you
Yeah,
spend anyway.
yeah, Andrew just had like, I think it's smart to say in writing, because somebody could say, oh, you said,
general fund and grant.
Yep.
Grant fund expense reimbursements.
Okay. All right, and then in the second paragraph, instead of strongly advises, Mr. Hennies said he thinks it should say requires, or why not requires. What is your thought around that?
I think requires is great. I had said strongly advises because I think it's happening so widespread. I think it's gonna be quite difficult to require it, but
I
that's
think
a
if you,
policy,
if you
yeah,
put, if you
yeah.
put requires, it takes the gray out of it.
I know, I
So
had
just
just
put
said
requires,
this
yeah.
strongly advises, so we can just
Yeah.
get the majority of people to go through the purchasing process.
Was
But
it happening that frequently?
So you could tell from those budget meetings, when you saw so many, like I
direct
said, in the
pays,
old days, it was just WB Mason. That's who we used. And now when I saw this school, this department, that department,
you see how much we're
it's all over
reimbursing
the
people.
place.
Yeah,
And it's all over the place, and it shouldn't be. The schools get a budget, each department gets a budget. That's what you're.
Yep.
I mean, I remember filling out those forms and all of the requisition numbers and everything else, so it shouldn't, that's what you have to do in order to get the stuff.
And in fairness too, there are people putting down their credit cards that don't want to be doing that either. This is something
Yeah,
that
exactly.
we've set up this practice and then we're complaining about.
Cause
part of
the
the
person
practice.
before them in the role put their credit card down and passed that along to them and said, yeah, I put my credit card down for this,
No, it's
but
been the expectation.
yeah, no,
You
no,
assume a
no.
certain role, you're putting it down and.
No,
you know, which
definitely.
Isn't fair.
Prefer to go through the purchasing
Yeah,
process.
And then in this next paragraph, he advised that we put prohibits instead of advises against, as everybody did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't want to assume. All right, and then the red is also some of his language.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too,
Unless approved.
in writing.
Because there could be some kind of emergency situation or whatever, where some kind of material or supplies are needed.
Then that next paragraph, some of us are paid monthly. And then some people are paid based on mileage rates, so that has to be there.
Yep, that makes sense to me.
So if everyone is putting their credit card down and that's what is expected of them, do we have a follow-up system that makes it so it's still easy for all?
That was mostly SAF, like that type of stuff.
Okay.
And I think because it was so widespread in SAF. it
People
started
just
to
thought it was
trickle in.
normal for the
Yeah,
general fund to do
Yeah.
that too, yeah.
yeah,
And some people, like some staff members and teachers hold on to their receipts all year and then at the end of the year submit all their
Yeah.
receipts and we're like, whoa, we didn't know you were buying this amount of stuff for your, so that's why we have that time frame in there too, like within 60 days, you gotta,
Do we have a system in place to make it easier and make this more generalized?
you mean like where to submit your receipts to?
Or no, if we don't want them using their own personal credit card and they have to come to you, do we have like?
Oh, yeah, like submitting a requisition and things. and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think now that they're on it more, there's definitely much more awareness of those systems. I think before it was more like, oh, this is the way we used to do it.
Yeah.
and Just kind of following suit, but.
Well,
that's what it is.
the way we used to do it was requisitions and stuff.
Well, okay,
So,
good point.
so there was something happened in the last
In the middle of
decade or so,
somewhere.
yeah.
Okay,
And requisitions are getting submitted for reimbursements, but after the purchase has been made, it needs to be, yeah,
Except for SAF.
yes.
all right. Anything more that we want to talk about in terms of lodging for conferences?
I just have a question on the lodging. It says there that it's gonna be one of the approved, conference rate places, and just having gone to a conference with some of my staff, I had one member of the group that was with us stayed at a different place because it was a cheaper rate. And he, so I just wonder if that, I don't wanna see us pigeonholed into something like paying more. If the conference rate is $250 for the room per night, and you can stay down the street,
I mean, isn't that what happened with me, with the place? When we get to that, usually they block out rooms, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point, so you're staying together. What happens if then that place is further away, now you need different transportation to get there? I mean, does that all
I mean, it was-
factor into this too?
he walked back and forth every day.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
he
It was
could, but-
close enough, but he said it was substantial, the savings. So
I
that's the only thing, seeing that, I don't want to see us
It's a good point.
not be able to do something because we can go a 2 minute
You
drive
could
down the
add
road.
something in here like unless the other rate is cheaper.
It's cheaper and the transportation to and from this
Does
place
not
doesn't,
exceed
it's,
the amount
yes,
that you're
yes,
saving from
exactly.
staying in the
How are
cheaper
we
place.
checking to the point earlier? How are we, like the flights, we were gonna try to figure out a process about where you find the cheapest flight or how that, who's gonna check on that?
Yeah, so I reached out to Ride today to ask them for, I used to work at Ride and it was a very regimented process for if you wanted to go to a conference, from requesting it from your director to actually going and submitting for reimbursement. And they do have language in there that says similar, it's about flights, but similarly to what you're saying, looking at the cost of the flight that you select, it needs to be within reason and it shouldn't be you should be thinking about the expense that RIDE is incurring because of this conference. But I think we can put language in there.
Okay.
But RIDE, sorry if I'm rambling too much, but RIDE basically requires you to look at, you submit 3 different flight options. They say, yep, move ahead with this flight option, and they fill out a travel request form, which, do we have a travel request form for conferences here?
PD request form, but not
Yeah.
travel.
It's part of that. Well, is it for, I know for teachers it's on there like conference, but not necessarily for us.
And you do buy the flight on your personal credit card, and you get a per diem, and you keep all that together. And then you submit that with the conference information all in one to the secretary when you get back from your conference, and then you see the reimbursement in your.
So,
We don't really have guidance currently in Warwick that states like which flight to buy. And we were talking openly this morning about, like, should we include detail in here that kind of guides people that want to go to a conference that is a flight away? Do we let someone take the $1,000 flight from Boston that's direct to San Diego, or do we want them to take the flight from Providence to Baltimore to San Diego? That's $400. That's a big difference. So we don't really have concrete guidance right
or
now.
cancellation policy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and on that, I guess my question when I read that is, I did some traveling for RIDE during park, and going from like here to Texas and Colorado and stuff, it was sometimes you're not getting home until 3 o'clock in the morning because they
Right.
put you on to that point like 3 connecting flights because it's the cheapest.
Yeah.
So
So-
you're traveling around the country to get home.
There is language in RIDE's policy, and I can forward the email that I received from RIDE today to folks if they want to read RIDE's policy, or we can share it out. But it says to take the most affordable flight within reason of, like, so you're not getting in at 3 a.m., right? That's a little bit crazy. So I think we could potentially put language in there that says something like taking the more affordable flight within reason of getting to the conference or returning home at a normal or timely hour, because that is crazy to get in at 3 and then it's
Agreed.
be
And then
expected
to be
to.
at work the next day?
Yeah, at 7 a.m. Yeah, that's crazy.
Said
Oh,
it. Earlier than that.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it could be worth.
So, yeah, and there's no, with this, Carla, we could either add language here right now, or we can continue to look at it and then bring it back, to the policy subcommittee with new language, unless you want that to be like a
A
procedure
procedure.
that's outside of this. You could reference the procedure and then we could do this piece, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Would I bring the procedure to the policy?
No, that
committee?
doesn't happen.
Okay.
That goes to, I believe, the administrators, like
Okay.
directors, executive directors.
Because it sounds like protocol seems to be the thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you, but I don't know if
How do
you
you
really
guys
want it
feel about
to.
that? Like if the finance team worked to create a separate procedure about choosing an appropriate flight within reason,
Yeah.
that's affordable but timely.
And then reference it in the policy that follow the
Yeah.
procedure.
Yeah, because the
Okay.
policy looks good. I mean, I think we're
Okay,
kind of there. It's just
okay,
a matter of,
I can do that. We can work on that.
One thing I have a question about, since Caroline is here. When I have people like purchase tickets to the play,
Yep,
it's cash or check made payable to Tollgate High School.
okay,
Some people ask, do you take Venmo? I don't take Venmo. But I know some people in this district are doing Venmo for various things. So I would like to see a policy about Venmo.
about Venmo.
Come from official from this, the school department. Because,
And to piggyback off of that too, even like a parent teacher organization shouldn't be using Venmo or have that attached to their website. Because
It's
that's
going
where,
into their personal bank accounts.
right,
yes,
because
It
that's
gets very
where the lines
sticky.
get very murky. And
And
certain
they set up
things
a
have
vendor
happened.
Why
for an
can't they?
organization, But
If
you
they
have
have
to
to have their-
pay a fee, I think, for that, right?
Yeah, like you set up a business account,
Yeah,
right?
that's- yeah.
we tried to do one for the Union 25-week club and it didn't, we stopped it after a year. Our accountant said no.
Okay,
So
Get a check.
Yeah.
That's the
check made
advice.
payable.
Get a check.
Well, really,
You're making me check.
so we're jumping into that world where, I mean,
I know,
even from the PTO like standpoint, like it's so much, I mean, nobody has cash anymore.
Except though, but here
I can
we
bring
see
it up
what
to
the
Craig.
problem is. That's why I brought it up, because it's a problem.
Something came up recently where somebody asked Craig about Venmo and it made sense to do Venmo. And I remember he was talking with Yarman about it. So I can follow up with them and ask them where they stand with that.
And how then maybe the school department sets up a Venmo, the same way, like any check. Like they don't make checks to the individual clubs or activities or whatever. It's just Tollgate High School.
Right,
or
right.
Open Beach or whatever.
Venmo doesn't have like a charitable where it's not, or it's not considered business, there's no way to navigate that. It's kind of.
Yeah, Venmo is very funny. And
I think there's just a genuine fear that it's connected to people's personal
Hmm.
accounts.
Yes.
So,
But it's like you said, you don't have to.
right, right.
So,
If it's a business account. Yeah, I'll have to ask. It literally came up a week or two ago. So I'll ask.
and if not
Right.
Venmo, is there some other thing that PayPal, do organizations have better luck with
Yep,
PayPal?
Square,
Oh, we have Square through the. Career Center,
CTC, yeah.
CTC.
Then
So
maybe-
it gets
maybe that's
loaded right
something.
into an account.
Yep. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but I want to say that we were thinking about doing something with Tyler Pay with Munis coming. Something to make,
Yeah.
they're quite similar to Venmo to make it a bit easier to do things like that, but I don't
But
want
it
to
would
speak.
need to be something, this is Warwick Public Schools
Yeah.
Yeah.
policy. No more Venmo to personal
Yep,
accounts.
yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Because somebody at the play wanted to, actually a Warwick Public Schools employee, and he still hasn't paid me. I let him in, but, I said no. I said, and he's somebody who should, I'm gonna be on him, but he's somebody who should know better too.
Yeah,
Because he's in that kind of field. And I said, no, I mean, there's too much that can go wrong, and I'm not being accused of this or
Yeah.
that, and he had to concur, but.
All right.
I'll ask Craig
Um,
about it.
Question about the air travel. This travel to conferences for no more than 24 hours prior to the start of the conference. Return flight will occur the same day if the conference ends before 6 p.m. Is that at all going to be difficult if we're going with the best flight or in reason or whatever? Is that going to contradict that very specific time period? If we put some protocol in place like that, you think it's okay?
I think it should be fine.
Okay. All right. Anything else just for the time period, meals, that rate has changed, it looks like. And so we just want to add a sentence, either at the bottom or wherever that, about all to follow the protocol, right?
Oh, with
That you're gonna-
purchasing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean, Sorry,
To
yes.
just reference it.
yeah, yeah.
Bottom is that. How many are actually, all employees? You gonna name it the same thing? Or this protocol or procedure? Does it have a title yet?
Can I get back to you?
No, I gotta send it.
All employees will refer to the, like, travel procedure
Okay,
for additional information and guidance. Something like that.
other than that, would that be pretty much? So here's a question I think I had on this one, but maybe it was the other one. Is the reference, I did ask Mr. Hennings to put any new references on, and I think some of them he did. Oh, he might have put this, I'm not sure, but Does this teacher union agreement, that's not the one we were referencing before, right? That was a
I
different
just
one.
looked it up. This one has to do with mileage.
Okay,
I think we change it to, instead of travel procedure, something like finance department travel procedure, because travel procedure could be seen as getting approval through school committee to even be allowed to travel. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things associated with travel procedure.
So
So I,
finance,
oh,
you know what I mean?
see.
So just
The
the
finance
Yeah,
department,
finance department's travel.
yes, yes.
Reimbursement procedure, I don't know.
is there any other questions on this one? And if not, I guess, are we thinking that we would send this for a first read to the next school committee?
It's not a little premature to reference something that.
Well, I think she's got the guidance from Wyde. Is that what you're talking about? That we're gonna be able to put together?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna,
it's only at a first read, so we have time. It's gonna go through a second read, but I wouldn't want to leave it off and then come back, right?
Right.
Okay with that? Is
Yeah.
everybody good with that? Okay.
what's the deadline for the creation of the procedure?
Tomorrow.
You got it?
No, would, like, you do by the end of the week? Okay, I think school committee is next Tuesday.
It's next-
okay.
If we
They
had
would
it by
probably
then.
wanna see that in conjunction with the
Probably,
policy,
but
right?
they're
Okay,
not necessarily in charge of the procedures and protocols, so
Okay.
that's not technically.
but it
their
would be
domain.
nice to
Yeah.
reference. Okay, yep.
Even what, 2 months?
Yeah,
First
by
read
the
and
time it goes to
second
second read and stuff, right? Okay,
Okay.
let's move on. And any other questions for Carlisle? You got your homework?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, next one is the change order approval. This is a resolution from school committee, CJE, in your packet. And make it bigger. So this basically is the same as the memo language. So if you haven't got a chance to look at it, just take a look. I believe the red is again, Mr. Hennius.
So he approved this?
Yeah, he takes a look at them. I mean, he's. This one, I think, any, there's no reference, even though I asked him, so I'll double check again, but he didn't put any reference at the bottom.
This is the temporary one, because this is the one that's
This
just
is-
for schools, right?
This is just for schools. This is, would end when the schools are done, the projects are done.
So. What's the other one? It's a completion of work. Yeah, let's go for that. Say temporary somewhere?
Little bit.
We alert ourselves to remind ourselves. So
Oh, no, it's already in my calendar. If I'm not here, Paul knows. Because we were just talking about it, I'm like, it still has to go for elimination.
Good job being on top of it.
So what are we doing on the draft?
Just having a look at it, make sure, I
Yeah.
mean, it was basically the language that he brought forth, but it
Yeah.
wasn't in policy form.
Yep.
And so, yeah, nothing, I think the red,
Yeah, this
as
is
I
an easy
mentioned,
one.
was.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's easy.
That's good.
All right,
It's good.
any, does it need the word temporary?
Yeah, because they're thinking after the budget, after the projects are done, that.
Yeah, the last line does say that it's in effect until the completion. Is
Right.
that,
And that
so
kind of
is
says
that
Yeah.
temporary?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have a problem with temporary, but it makes it seem it's very specific to that. All right, so is everybody okay with this going forward as a first read?
Yes.
Okay. Then the next thing on our agenda is BCF. This is the advisory committees to school committee. This was an existing policy that looked like this.
in 1981. And, I think that's right. Did I pull them? So this is the one that they were looking for all advisory committees to have sort of a 60-day deadline, not to stay in these committees too long without an update to school committee. But there was a lot of work done to this one. If you didn't get a chance to look at it, there's some language that we added from other existing policies from other districts. We tried to make it a little bit more specific. Incorporated some of the resolution language. I know 60 days was one of those things that we were discussing, so that's open still to like discussion, I'm sure. And then you can see some of the language that was taken. This isn't the right one, it's BCF. I accidentally brought up PCE, sorry. But it's just as short. This is what the original looked like, and it was 19. It's longer, actually, than this, 1980. So this is the one you all got a chance to kind of peruse last time, where we were like, what is the citizens advisory, and you know, that kind of, so there was a lot of stuff in here that was even hard for someone like me that's been in this district a long time to kind of even associate, like, I don't even know what that would have meant.
One thing I'm questioning is the membership. The school committee chairperson will serve as the ex officio member of all advisory subcommittees. Is it kind of putting him in charge of all of them? When there's two of us that each kind of take over each one particularly?
I feel like I'm not 100% sure of your question. I think there's always a school committee member assigned to every advisory.
Yeah, there's usually two of us.
And are you thinking?
But there can only be two of us. So it was kind of like saying that the chairperson will serve as on all of the subcommittees. And then a school committee member may be appointed under membership.
I think it means like by virtue of his position, he serves on the committee,
But
not controls it, I don't think.
But I understand what you're saying, that could form quorum.
right, correct.
If,
So there's only, because there's
There
only
it
two
is
of
right
us.
here. Okay, school committee chairperson will serve as an ex officio.
But he can say, this is what I like to see in policy, but he can't oversee this policy committee.
well, what he does now is he appoints, right? He
Right.
appoints
That's how I
members,
took it,
so
but
maybe
maybe
we
that's-
change that wording, that
Right, that's the only thing
he
that I saw.
appoints.
Right.
So
Or she.
just let me know what you're thinking you would like there.
So that the chairperson appoints, you know, one to two members to be the.
It doesn't say that somewhere else? Representation shall be determined by the school committee members of the advisory committee in conjunction with the administration in accordance with the committee's purpose and application. Applicable state and federal regulations.
But he won't serve as a member of all advisory subcommittees.
Unless the chair decides he or she is on every committee and then just takes one other person from the school committee.
But even then, you can form like a bias if one person is controlling.
Oh, absolutely. you could
So
do it,
I don't
but-
think you should give the chair that much control either. Teacher chair.
Members we'll appoint, do you want 1 to 2 members?
Yeah,
Anymore, it's a
Yeah,
quorum.
yeah, less than
Sure.
3.
yeah.
2.5. Just kidding.
And then do we even need to serve as ex officio members? No, serve as the school committee chairperson will appoint 1 to 2 school committee members to serve as,
Yeah, so I think you combine those two.
oh, I see.
Well, ex officio, it's by virtue of the office. Somebody is
Yeah,
something.
they just need to be combined.
Yeah, so you want this out and just go to the next sentence?
Yeah,
Is
the
that what you're thinking?
chairperson will kind of school committee members be.
Subcommittee members will appointed to advisory committees. Yeah,
By
I
the
feel like,
school
all
committee chairperson.
right, so do we even,
If he appoints us, but
yeah. You should appoint 1 to 2 school committee members to serve. I don't feel like you even need this, though. You're saying combined, but why do we even need it?
well, I mean, it was like 2 sentences that would just should have been 1 sentence.
Yeah, so get rid of all of it, right? This whole sentence?
Yeah.
Okay. I was-
And then just, I would do the same there, or it's under, temporary committees, because again, it says that again. As the last line.
But
Go
could they
by.
still be in that position just without voting rights?
They
Three
can't
of
have
us shouldn't
3.
be in the same room.
Can't have 3 in the same room.
And we can't report back to each other.
Although we did have 3 when, Dave Testa came to, visit us.
Yeah,
So going back to what Adam said, if one is sitting there without voting rights
yeah.
and not,
Just a member.
Presenting. like- yeah.
discussing policy, or I mean, not policy, but like active, whatever, business.
He popped in just to clarify something, right?
He popped
That
in
day.
to, explain his vision.
That becomes almost an Andrew question.
Yes, it does become an answer.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. I think they must have asked him. I'm wondering because I didn't know that they were coming.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we did. And then Mr. Wiggins was even like, I'll sit out, we're talking. So it- I think he was, I think we were very nervous about. I think he ended up talking more than.
All right. Anything? Yeah, this, all this, I didn't know of any reason and I did have Andrew look at it, but yeah. Anything else that you see? Resources, I think you might have brought that up. I wasn't sure. I left it to talk about, but I guess technically the liaison person does like make sure we have like the proper equipment. Well, that's sort of a given that, but
Expenditure of funds by any advisory committee.
you didn't know I had a budget. Wait till Carlisle hears about that. Yeah, I don't know why we'd need that, but I just didn't know if I should take it out. Is there ever a case, I guess, that maybe that happens?
Could be, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that health and wellness committee, there are certain things by law that it has to do. We did have, a couple of years ago, we had someone from the state join us to discuss. I don't think that person charged us a fee, but I
Yeah.
mean, it could be within the realm of possibility that you need to consult an expert on something or
Yeah.
whatever.
We'll leave it. All right. What do you think about this? Oh, this was the one that I think I was asking if this is relevant still, the contract reference. You looked it up at one point, Darlene, and I don't know if, because this was written in 1980. But it could still be in there, but
Article 7. Let's see what Article 7 says. Oh, that's the faculty advisory committee.
so it doesn't seem like it would make sense.
I think it's just in there. It's a different kind of committee than.
It's really not this.
So
Yeah.
you listed
Yeah,
up,
this isn't a school.
No.
Advisory committee for the school committee. But I think it was in there when it was just advisory committees.
When it was a
'cause we added
citizens
to the
committee.
What is this citizen assistant just supposed to do that?
I think that was just the language they used back then, like to
Yeah,
public, you know,
yeah.
be part of this, like that's
Yep.
always the goal, but. Right. Okay, all right, so are we okay if this goes to for first read?
Sure.
Yeah.
I need to excuse myself. I have to pass
Thanks
this.
for
Good night,
coming.
everyone.
Yeah, go on.
All right. Policy for elimination. This is why I picked this one, but this is that temporary committees. I combined that in the other one, so I think we can eliminate that.
Yeah.
All right, and then whole business. This was the draft of student liaison to the school committee at the last school committee meeting. They asked us to revisit this to add a little bit more context, more meat to the policy, mostly around what students will be responsible to do, like their responsibilities, enroll, school improvement, yep, sitting on school improvement. So if you, I believe that was added, and he referenced there against a lot and Woonsocket, the ones he gave us, but I think if, I don't know, do you have this on here? Yeah, you have the examples of the school policies to look at that if you want to take a look to see what has been changed.
Well, he specifically said he wanted what Narragansett had,
Yeah, so I made sure that went in there.
but I almost thought what he was referencing, I thought we had it. Good.
I thought so too.
I mean, didn't have that they would serve on the high school improvement team. Again, I feel like that's gonna be harder to, you know, it's gonna be a little tricky. What if they're in like not able to go? I don't know.
Right. And then what if, you know, there are other kids who would want to be part of the school improvement team? Does that mean this person is taking?
No, you can never turn a kid
Can you
away.
have one?
almost.
Oh, I think you can have one. I think that was more for the consistency of like the bigger picture, but he's hoping that there would be some accountability there.
I just remember, I didn't necessarily agree that it needed more. I thought it was kind of like, I thought we decided this is really good generalized. But I could be wrong.
Well, they didn't accept it at that level. They wanted us to take a look at it. So that's what we're doing now.
I think you are correct, Michelle. I think what we had come up with was like the basic and enough, but
So what happens in that scenario then? If
I
they
don't
send
know
it
that.
back and,
It's just
and
gonna
the
send it back
committee
again,
says,
so.
yeah, I mean, we're kind of, we
I
like the
don't-
more generalized approach.
We could take a vote and say this isn't necessarily the
Simplify.
approval or like what we think should happen, and then you can explain that in your update. But I feel like our thought was to kind of like, they're giving us edits, right, to consider. Right. But you know,
under roles and responsibilities, number 8, we just need to fix, the sentence, because we've got serve a 1-year term that begins in September. It says, and continuing through the last meeting, it should just be continues through to the last meeting in June.
and get rid of senior year.
Yeah,
Because that,
you could put
we know that it's only happening
in
in
June
senior.
of that year. Because we know that it's a student's senior year anyway, continues through the 2 or ends at the last meeting in June of that year. Oops. And then 9 is lack of parallel structure. Just get rid of school committee meeting and just have attend all regular
Oh, yeah.
open meetings.
Yeah.
Open school committee meetings, right?
Yeah, all regular open school, yeah, put school committee there.
Was he almost referencing, I wonder, because looking at it, I guess now, like it has like a protocol, a B, and then it's like C's responsibilities. Is he just I wonder if he was just referencing.
When I
more of, like,
listened back, he just said he wanted more meat to this.
Yeah.
In terms of the student role. That's what I heard. But we can give it a try, or we don't send it forward again and wait. But that's,
I know, you know my opinion.
Yeah.
I think our school committee has a lot more to think about regarding the budget, et cetera, than whatever, but
the finalists will engage in an interview. No, that's still kind of saying the responsibilities is just be known as the representative. Serve more than one single year. Serve as a liaison. Okay.
I think it's pretty much the same. I can.
Attend all regular meetings, participate in the discussion. Be eligible to propose future agenda.
I think the meat, if you define it too much,
Yeah.
the meat is gonna change based upon
Well, I
the
think
nature of
that's
the
why-
school committee,
I think
right?
that's why we kind of, at
Yeah.
first, we're kind of going more generic, because I don't know what their interview with those 2 people might look like. You know,
Yeah.
what do they want them to, present or, so I think I like that. I understand the idea behind the school improvement team. I think it's just gonna look different at the school, though. It's a little trickier than it's just written there. I think all of this is the harder part, like at the school. The principal is gonna be responsible for a lot of this, And then, yeah, I just don't want it to be too boxed in that they're like, this
Yeah.
is so hard to do.
I mean, that's what we can also say, that we like to generalize, and then we just all can, all vote individually.
Well, do you want to do that now? Do you want to get a feel for who's here and what they think as is right now?
I think Michelle was thinking about the actual school committee.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like if David's the only one that really is like, I want more potatoes, I can, say, well, this is what we decided that we'd like to more generalize. Other than, I feel like most of it kind of is not really.
Well, it was added to since then, right? Like this isn't the way it looked. I can go back to the original version
Yeah,
But
you
I
could-
added the school committee, I mean, the school improvement team, and maybe one other thing, I wish I could hold them up together right now, but you'll see like that.
So you could potentially bring two versions and say, this is the one that we originally had, and we sort of like the more general terms that were listed.
Yeah,
And here's one that,
here's one with.
we were
more-
tasked to do, but
Right.
we're not really truly in maybe, I mean, I don't.
And
And
they
does
haven't
everybody
favor
feel
for
like that? That they-
Yeah,
they
I
have
think,
a
I
problem
like,
with that? Okay.
yeah.
So why don't we do that? I can give you both versions and you can present both and the rationale. But at least we did what we were supposed to do. We're not gonna bring it, because that's. I don't think that's content.
Yes, we,
All right. Anything else on that one? So we'll go, so that one, we're gonna bring the original version that
And-
you
and the
had,
new
so
one.
you could say why you did that one, what you did. And then the one with more specifics. Okay. So in that situation, I was talking earlier with Paul, even, so how would you consider this? I still feel like this is a first read then, even though it went once for a first read, but then we got very generic edits, right? So you
yeah,
agree
so
with
I
that,
think it
right?
needs to be another first
First
read,
read, okay,
because
perfect.
especially since you're presenting now two
New
options.
information, yes, exactly, okay.
And,
Just wanna
and
make sure.
Michelle will get to explain her perspective
Yep.
to the rest of the committee, and then they will be free to explain their perspectives, and then, like she said,
They can go to.
you'll each, there's 5 of them, they can each vote for the one they want, or the way they.
Okay, all right, and then section F, there are 3 topics for just quick discussions. I think here, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to discuss like the possibility of maybe the rationale for a future policy in some cases.
Improving them, yeah.
And then with the therapy dog, that is an existing policy that I can give a little bit more context. I've talked to as well as you did with Mrs. Hazelwood, and then I was able to talk to the person in the school as
Okay.
well.
All right,
I can
okay.
speak to the exploratory
Yeah,
enrollment if you need.
yeah.
Sure.
I
Like I said,
don't
was
have any
there, so.
context.
Depends on the order you wanna, I don't know,
Why don't you do the exploratory, the CTC
is there a
exploratory?
concern there, or is it just
All I saw was an email from Jacob Midori.
Yeah.
That's
That
all.
it-
I have no context.
Did it
So-
really need to be, updated? Looked at it, for what, I guess, what is going on and maybe we want to change things.
So exploratory, just so everybody knows, it's, the number has been set. I want to say it's somewhere around 140 students that cycle through the Career Center as freshmen.
Mhm.
It's a 1 semester experience, just for a semester. They spend about 5 days in each program. They move to the next program. It's designed to give them a feel. It's ideal for a kid that knows they want to work with their hands, but don't know quite what program they want to do. They'll see every single program. They'll get graded on a rubric while they're in that program. Basic things. Did they pay attention? Did they do the assignment? You know, whatever it may be in the classroom. And then at the end, we utilize that to kind of determine, you know, who potentially is going to get into what program. So if a student had a great experience in electricity, scored a 4 on the rubric, they're given preference. It's set at that 140-ish mark because the Career Center programs are all 3 hours straight. And what happens is exploratory kids come in on the high school schedule every like 50 minutes. So that it's interruption, leave, interruption, leave. It's kind of like a necessary recruitment tool, but there's a disruption to part of it. And the teacher has to go kind of address the 5 new kids that came in. Here's what we're working on today. And then while also addressing the rest of the normal class, they've put seniors in a more leadership role because of that, to be able to work with the younger kids. The pushback sometimes comes, I didn't get into exploratory because it's first come, first serve. It's established at the middle schools. We don't even know who we're getting. It's just these kids signed up, it's all time stamped, first 140, they're in. But we run regular, for the student that doesn't get in, they can come see the Career Center anytime and spend a day in a program. And some kids don't want to see every program. Like sometimes some of the males say, I don't want to be in cosmetology for 5 days. Well, you're going to be in cosmetology for 5 days because that's the way exploratory is. So it doesn't limit other kids' access. Kids can come over and see multiple programs through their guidance counselor. We do the same thing for Pilgrim coming over. So I think it's kind of like, it's a well-oiled machine right now. We are maxed out because doing any more than 3 or 4 kids coming into each class at a time is it's too much. So we do cap it at that, for safety reasons as well. And we handle everybody else. Anybody that wants to come over can come over. So I haven't talked, Jake, I don't know if he reached out to the director of the Career Center. He didn't reach out to me, but I don't know exactly what we can't make it bigger.
Enrollment, yeah, I think.
It won't work. In my opinion.
And it's not a policy
safe.
currently, right? It's more of a procedure
No.
that everybody follows and.
Nor does it need to be.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe for this discussion, if you want to get more clarity from Jacob, but it sounds like we already know we can't make it bigger. And
Yeah,
it really doesn't, I don't know that we need a policy. It
No, and all the
doesn't seem like it
people
would be-
involved, so myself at secondary, Frank at the director role, guidance counselors at both schools, actually all schools, including the middle schools, are in agreement that we've got a model that's working right now, working pretty well. And the enrollment shows that, and the enrollment is at max.
and if it's at max, it's
Do
nothing to do.
you think there was, maybe this is part of what we find out from Jacob, like, he didn't talk to you? He just sent an email?
He's up to Mr. Gaines.
But I wonder if there was bringing it down. We still can't support any more students. So I was wondering if they were thinking like at the middle school, like how do we get kids coming into 9th grade to look at it? But
I mean, we go out to the middle schools to do a recruitment there, then we do the recruitment open houses as well. We give them they have free reign through our programs with their parents. I think you've been at one of the recruitments before. I think you open a house, so.
Probably the concern is because we are losing so many students to other programs, but we're losing students to CTE or pathways
Yeah.
rather in other high schools.
So I'll clear up that like reality. We're gonna lose more kids this year than probably we have any other year. It's gonna continue. North Kingstown's the big winner. They take kids from everywhere. But the Career Center, by the same token, they're not going to North Kingstown and we have 100 spots left at the Career Center left unfilled. We're filled with the exception of maybe 3 programs where there's room, out of the 16-ish that are there. So
why
it's
the
just the
narrative?
reality. They go there, in my opinion, for better facilities and sports.
That's it.
And they're able to just pick, like, for example, North Kingstown has a business CTE program. It's accredited, but it's 3 courses.
Yeah.
Our kids are 3 hours a day, every day.
And there's no, I guess I'm trying to figure out like, so why the narrative? Are they looking to add more spots?
Because I think city, with the money and the way everything is right now and how tight it is, that's one of the biggest losses that districts are facing.
Right. So
Which
to
is why
correct that,
some
you need
districts
more
are
spots.
wanting to go to court. So, and you only have so much space.
Right.
And then you only have, so if I open up another 30 spots for electricity, you have to find a licensed electrician
Right.
that also has a certification or is willing to get it, to be able to teach that class.
Find room for them too.
Yeah,
You
that's
have to have
what I mean. Why are
room.
we keep talking about
There's funding issues. So as much as, take 20 more kids in, what do you, like, people don't think about the copper wire and the expense of, so it's not, everyone's losing kids to different areas.
We're not, and our career centers area, other career centers in the state. Our career center is not the problem. The problem is the regular high school pathway issue. And the problem is RIDE, not granting our pathways, the substantially similar language that the legislation now requires. Our pathways are actually what we put together superior. They're not substantially similar. They're better than the 3 classes that people take at.
But that works against you as well, because we're currently there are things going on with RIDE right now regarding CTE and Warwick schools. We'll leave it at that.
Sure.
So I think, yeah, we could refer to Jacob to Frank. I mean, he could probably answer
Yeah.
a lot of those questions. I think people think they have an idea of exactly what happens, but
Right,
yeah.
okay. So will you be following up with Jacob? Okay. All right, and then the high school tours. In sense of, that's not a current policy either, so I'm just wondering, was he looking for a policy?
I think so, and I was kind of questioning that because it got brought up too.
I don't think it's a current policy, am I just understanding that?
So- What got brought up in my world was the junior high.
Yeah.
Elementary to junior high, so I don't know what he's referring to with high school per se. Do we have anything for the junior high, for when, like, elementary to junior high and high school?
Meaning a.
Like a procedural? Yeah.
I think
They, so
it's not a
being
policy.
on the other side of the city for the past 2 years, there is an opportunity for kids to go and take a tour of vets. And when that's happening, teachers get to meet with the guidance counselors and give input and a little bit of background of the incoming class. At Woodman, from what I understand, like my 5th graders are going there on Thursday. They get to tour the building. I don't know if the same is happening with the teachers going to guidance counselor because I can't speak because I haven't
I don't
experienced
And the
remember
middle
it.
school
it.
kids,
Tours,
middle school kids
Yeah.
go to the high school and do the tour with their parents. Like,
Oh, at
It-
an open
right,
house before
yeah,
school
before
starts.
school
Yes.
starts, they do
Yes,
the
yes,
food truck
yes.
events.
Yeah, they kind of entice everybody.
yeah,
to
so-
go.
Is it a protocol? Is it a policy?
No,
No,
that's-
right?
It's just
It's just,
something that
it's an event
happens.
that happens.
Just an event that happens.
Do we have any reason for her to make it a policy?
No,
No,
I would say
no. Each school does it. They have these orientations
just-
and they,
Something that we do annually to help
We
the
even
kids with
have-
that
Unless
transition.
he's,
unless he's talking about the new high schools.
or,
Yeah.
or referring to like shadowing for the day /
that would
you
be
know,
like a
come, yeah.
case by case, they
Yeah,
couldn't
right.
do
It's
everybody.
all handled through guidance.
Yeah, so maybe getting more clarification with that,
Yeah.
but I don't understand what he'd be looking for there.
Warwick needs to make yard signs that they post around the, in other towns, the way North Kingston posts around Warwick.
Again, maybe he's worried about enrollment and thinking this is gonna help, but
Well,
they do
that's what
the,
I said, enrollment.
yeah, they do the, family, invite families to, before school starts, to these like events, and they always pair it with something that would get a family to come, not just come and look at the classroom, but
Like Tim said, the food trucks.
food trucks, yeah, things like that.
Some years it was ice cream in the cafeteria
Right.
after the tour.
Right, all right, well, we'll get more clarification on that one.
Yep.
Then the therapy dogs is an existing policy, ING, and, it's come to our attention, Miss Hazelwood had reached out to me because she had a current employee that really wanted to bring their therapy dog and was feeling that they were having to go through a few extra steps that aren't really cited in the policy. So it just brought to attention that maybe there is a school personnel person, that doesn't make sense, school personnel, Katie Ledoux, that has been handling some of the procedures around therapy dog. I believe she might have been appointed at the time by Patty Cousineau and potentially Lynn Dambrook. That really wasn't official. And so talking to Mr. McCaffrey today, he's not necessarily looking for her to be doing that. I will say, though, the things that she is doing is pretty extensive. Like, right now, the policy says it would go through Bill. Bill knows that. I think he wants to get a handle on that, has a better understanding of what dogs are in there. He doesn't really want dogs coming in for any purpose at all. I think that is a piece that's going a little bit awry, is that people have their dogs for a good chunk of time just to be in the building for maybe to read to them or whatever, which is in the policy, but it's not very targeted. It's not very specific. And I think it's losing kind of the traction of the real purpose of it. And he's only approved one this year, even though the protocol says that. She's approved one, which again, I should have gone to Bill. And any other therapy dogs you see are not being followed along with this practice. So I think,
we'll be messaging out at
Yeah.
the secondary and elementary level that there is a therapy dog policy. And if you have not been approved by the superintendent,
Yeah.
you don't belong having a therapy dog in school.
so I think that that's sort of like, people have just taken it to a whole nother level. And I have to say, Katie has been wonderful in the things she's doing. She's making sure if you're not an employee, you're getting a BCI check, she's getting the certifications, she's getting the vaccinations, she's doing all the back end that policy entails, which is a lot of work for someone to do. However, it's only as good as, people actually following the policy, and she's not officially been appointed that, so I feel like she's done a lot of nice things, but it's not necessarily her job to do that unless Bill requires her to do it. She just took it on because, well, in elementary, it was a bigger thing. And I think Patty's intent was to sort of get that under control. They had a Google Calendar to make sure the dogs were at a certain building and not duplicate.
Well, wasn't Ann Cecil bringing her dog in at one
Right.
point too? Wasn't Ann Cecil bringing
Yes.
her dog in at
I
one
think
point
it
too?
started there too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, is that why?
I
we
thought
did
they
it?
could only, if I remember the policy correctly, I thought there was a portion of it that said therapy dogs could only come from these approved.
No,
I
No,
thought that's what it was.
no. 'Cause
and that may be
I was
what
actually part
was,
of. I was part of
Cause I
it
actually
too.
think there may have been
happens.
some confusion of that.
Exactly.
in the
We
policy.
separated the two because it was therapy, which is like the canine, the police therapy. And then there was, you had an actual
Service
dog.
dog.
Right.
Right, but I
Because
think,
there's
I think
also
what
the
Ryan is
I'm
referring to is
referencing-
more of an internal procedure
Right.
that Patty might have created.
Oh,
And that's where it kind of went a little messy.
and
Yeah,
I guess she took the therapy dog to the basketball, and then one of the moms freaked out and said, "You need all of our permission to bring the dog." And I was like, "You can't really do that with therapy."
Well, and that is another thing. I mean, I said that to Paul. I'm like, that therapy dog, it was lovely that they tried that, but every parent should have known that dog was gonna be there, so they could have made that choice. And again, if you're thinking about the purpose of that, what was the purpose? The dog could have been in a different room if anybody's feeling extra anxious or whatever, but didn't need to be a cheerleader on the side.
Right.
I feel like that's where it went a little messy, and that's why that person kind of was questioning the policy.
And because I said to Leah was, well, I know we purposely put it where the principal would make that announcement that the dogs would make, because, allergies are a big thing too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, but again, like, there's like, I think that's exactly my point. So one dog I know comes in and walks through the hallway to a certain office. When that person needs to go somewhere, they go with them, because that's why they ask the whole school to do the permission slip. But really, the purpose is a targeted group of students going to visit the dog in a certain location, I would think. Not everybody just wants a dog at school to comfort them. I mean, that's nice too, but I think, that's where it got a little
It's
blurry.
nice until the therapy dog bites somebody.
Right, and then,
And it's-
I think that's what you need
Yeah.
someone to look
Then
at
it's
all
like,
those
yeah,
things. But
everyone's gonna look at the
anything can
policy
happen.
Yep.
Then even if we were gonna make it all permission, which I don't think is even on the table, I think, to your point, Tim, Bill would like, both Lisa and Tim to send out the principals, the policy, and reiterate that this is the procedure. And if you don't have his signature,
Mhm.
then it's not.
Yeah.
going
the
in.
dog does not enter the building,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, tighten.
nor
Okay.
does the miniature horse.
All right, so
So we don't need to relook at that policy then, because that is good.
I feel like, I mean, you certainly have every right to say we do. We can put it on the next agenda, but I don't know what we would change.
Right.
What do you want to change? Anything?
I was part of, because that's fairly new. I was part of that. I thought we did a good job.
I mean, I looked at it again when she brought it up. I think, Ms. Hazelwood said that she thinks it should be less cumbersome and that maybe it could live with the principal making that choice, but I did not get that impression from Mr. McCaffrey. No, he signs off approval and makes sure that they complete the paperwork. Because, and according to Katie, not to complicate this, but like, if you're an employee, you are not covered under the insurance at that moment, you have to carry a separate insurance. You're not covered under the school or whatever, because you're working and you're doing this. And that is also an interesting thought for me. Like, I'm thinking, why are you doing both jobs? You're either a working therapy dog handler or you're employee at that moment, but yeah. So there's all these other little pieces that I don't know a lot about, but if you do want to revisit it, we can. But I feel like Bill was pretty clear with what he
Yeah,
thinks.
ultimately, he's gonna have to answer to any issue
Any
that
issue that
arises
comes
through
up.
this,
And I
so.
don't think I think he wants to get more under control than making it more loose. So if you choose to revisit, it's not too late. This is just a discussion. We could do that for the next meeting.
Like I said, I thought it was on, and even the scenario that was presented to me sounded a lot different from what you said.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I took to Katie today to get more of her
Right.
understanding of it, but yeah. But Leah did say she just felt like she was being told, this woman was being told she had to get permission from everyone in the school.
Right, that's what.
And that's not in line with the policy.
Right. and
Because you're
that's what I
supposed to
said.
have a certain purpose. Right. And targeted. And if you were gonna do that, I'd rather have it be an opt out than an opt in, right? Like, you're gonna wait for everybody to have permission.
I think I also
So-
didn't understand, I thought it was like her therapy dog that she needed, so I was like, well, if she's like a service animal, I was like, well,
No,
we don't have the right to.
no, I mean, she had good research and stuff about that. She's a reading specialist and she is supposed to help with that.
Therapeutic.
Yeah. So that's just one, but I know of other therapy dogs we talked about today that are not on any list. So, all right, that's all I have. Next.
Public comment?
Yeah, public comment.
Public comment?
Okay.
Anything here from the public?
Any announcements?
No.
The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 5th at 4:30.
I forgot what to say. Adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Yeah, all in favor,
Aye.
I'm just reading the agenda.
make a motion to adjourn, I think that's.
Okay.